Welcome back to Lost Legacies.
A Hidden City Bookshop Productions.
That's right, we're back. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
We didn't have an episode last week. Apologies. We had some issues that needed to get sorted.
Yep.
But we're back now. Also, if you're just joining us from watching us talk about Lost Season 5, Episode 3, and now you're jumping into us talk about Lost Season 5, Episode 4, welcome back. It's been a while. We haven't done much between then and now.
No, not really.
No, it's been months. What? November, December, January, February, March, April, May. At least 7 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Strike was back, I want to say, in November or longer, maybe October. I don't know.
Oh. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's crazy. I completely, like, that time just doesn't, wow.
It was a dark time.
To say the least.
Get it?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Listeners, apologies if you hear water in the back. It's a beautiful rainy day outside, and there's nothing I can do about that sound. So,
Nor is there anything we would do about that sound.
I know. It's cooling off in Texas, finally. Yeah. So, Sam, how have you been? How are things since last November?
I'm angrier.
Jaded ear.
Yeah, well, no, not jaded. I'm fed up.
Yeah.
But really not because of, anything we've been watching or anything, just life.
Yeah.
A couple of hard knocks, especially recently, and I'm just like, man, okay, I'm done. And yeah.
You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh no.
I'm done, Matt. I've had enough. I'm out.
Oh man.
I'm outies. Peace. Yeah, kickflip away.
Well, I hope I'm not speaking too prematurely here.
No.
But if you're listening / watching this on YouTube, welcome. This is like one of our first YouTube quote unquote videos. There's no video here, but we've always talked about doing more of a presence on YouTube, and I always wanted to do the podcast on there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, especially, Sam and I have talked about it before. We don't really have good cameras, so there won't be a visual component to this show until we do get good cameras, and I honestly don't know when that would be. So, but I am trying to branch out and do other stuff, like a little bit of gaming, not so much, just a little, just dipping my toes in. So that might get uploaded here as well. So welcome. And I think finally, before we can jump back into this episode in the show, if you have stuck with us, or if you started watching because we were talking about Dark, welcome back. This is what the majority of the podcast has been to this point, Lost.
Mm-hmm.
Which, funny enough, though, we have dozens, almost 100 Lost episodes. But actually, it's the Arcane episodes that are really driving up our downloads right now. That the trailer dropped, everyone's excited. The final season.
That was
down.
a surprise.
Calm down. There's just 2 seasons, guys.
Yeah.
I think you need to you have to do at least 3 seasons to get to say the final chapter.
Yeah. So you could do something like the epic conclusion, but not the final chapter. Like,
yeah. But other than that, what else is going on, Sam? A lot of D&D stuff going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's excited for the new books.
Yeah, they're releasing art for a lot of the new books. I think specifically like the Player's Handbook is what I saw today.
That one you sent me with the dwarves? It's so cool. It makes sense. So like the dwarves have tattoos of beards, and it's like, well, that makes sense. It's like the beards of their loved one, that could be marriage tats. Like I'm like, that's
Hmm.
just so. I never thought about that. That's so rad.
Yeah.
That's funny because I've always wanted to play a dwarf that had who shaved his beard. He kind of has like the mutton chops instead of a beard. Um,
How
so
could you?
I guess his tattoo would just be the mutton chops.
Well, I don't. I don't. Oh yeah, yeah. I guess that's true. Just his loved one or whatever would have just mutton chops on their arm.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny. That's cool. I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic about this new D&D update. I hope it does well. Um, the Unearthed Arcana stuff I really ended up enjoying.
Hmm.
There's just certain things that we didn't really get. They weren't really tweaked enough to my satisfaction by the time we got the last Unearthed Arcana.
Hmm.
So I'm a little nervous about what's to come. Overall, I think it's going to be a good update, a good game. I'm hoping. It's just a little nitpicky stuff that like I'm kind of nervous about, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Um, Meanwhile, there's a lot of other games in testing right now. DC 20, which is what everyone's calling D&D sixth edition.
Mm.
I kind of I have to agree, man. I've been reading the rules and like it just seems so natural. Like this is it seems easy enough that a new player can pick it up to learn,
Hmm.
but it's also complex enough but also close enough to D&D for someone who has played 5th edition and who does enjoy 5th edition. I think you'll really like DC 20. It just makes more sense,
Hmm.
you know. Um it's a little more easier. Like you couldn't make this game in 2014 when 5th edition came out. It's
Mm.
like 5th edition was being played and over this past decade people have figured out what works and what doesn't, what has actually evolved better and what has devolved, I don't know.
Hmm.
And you know, Dungeon Coach who made DC 20, like he's really good at that stuff. I don't know how he does it. And he has a great set of playtesters, I guess. But it really feels like a natural evolution of D&D, and I'm really excited for it.
Hmm.
And then on the other hand, Daggerheart, which kind of goes in the opposite direction and kind of makes things needlessly complicated, but it's fun. It's still fun. Like I don't know. I'm just excited. There's so much gaming going on right now. There's also Matt Colville's game, Brandon Sanderson's game. His Kickstarter is happening in August, I think.
He's doing another Kickstarter.
Yeah, and they're already saying this is probably going to be the biggest TTRPG. What's self-funded or
Mm.
crowd-funded project ever if they're just looking at his book. You know, his
Yeah.
book Kickstarter. I think it was Kickstarter. I don't remember.
Yeah. It
But his
was.
his book crowdfunding like broke all the records
Hmm.
ever on any platform. So they're kind of expected. They don't know if it'll do that well, but as far as the gaming community, it's going to be the biggest crowdfunding game for sure.
Dang.
Yeah. And
That's wild.
I don't know anything about like that franchise, like the Stormlight Archives.
Yeah, I don't either.
I know it's part of his 20 novel saga, but I
Yeah,
think
they're all kind of like mixed. Well, not mixed. They all kind of like take place in like the same universe or
hmm
something.
hmm
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, like the magic system is really cool, and
yeah.
that's kind of what everybody is hyped about. So I don't know.
Like for in the game or in the like in the
Oh, in the novels.
in the novels, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Fascinating. All right. Maybe we should just say, to hell with it. Let's make a cinnamon and oatmeal game. We don't need D&D.
There you
Or
go.
maybe we do. I don't know. We'll see. Um, that's cool. But this is all just warming us up for when we make our Lost TTRPG.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I should
That's that. Oh,
pull up my notes. It's
that's
been
what it's
so
gonna
long.
that's what it's gonna be called. Lost, live together, die alone.
Ooh.
just make it needlessly complicated on all the websites and stuff, you know.
Right. It's gonna be like a one of those old viral internet treasure hunts, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, let's do this. I got my notes here.
Okay.
It's been so long. Today we're going back to the island. We're talking about Lost, season 5, episode 4, The Little Prince. Jack and Kate try to find whoever is looking for Aaron. Meanwhile, the survivors on the island are finding it difficult to not die. This was is interesting. It was good. It was a fun watch. Of course, we watched this episode last year, but we never got to record the episode.
Yeah.
So this, we got to rewatch it. But I personally didn't rewatch the first 3 episodes. But I looked up recaps and I watched like reaction videos just to
Hmm.
kind of shake off the cobwebs of season 5. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And
but
I didn't do any of that. I just re-listened to our episodes about the
hmm,
first 3 episodes.
how were they?
They were good. We were young. We were so young and
Oh, so
beautiful.
young, naive. If you could rate those episodes on a 1 to 5 star scale, what would you call those first 3?
5 stars.
5 star.
5 star
That's what I
episodes.
like to hear,
Come
man.
on, man.
That's what I
Yeah.
like to hear.
And if
Wow.
you haven't listened to them, one, I don't know what you're doing here if you haven't listened to those episodes, but go listen to those other episodes. They're 5 star quality. And that's coming
Oh
from
no.
a completely biased perspective.
Now I'm
So
getting nervous.
take my word for it.
Uh, this was this was fun. It's interesting, but like I said, we did rewatch it, so next week's gonna be a little crazy because I don't remember what happens next.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it felt good to get with these characters again. It's a complete it's a tonal shift from dark, to the extreme.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I wouldn't say this episode's like fun, but it's definitely more fun than dark. And the cool thing about Lost is at its heart, it's an adventure story. And this episode, I mean, so far these first 4 episodes of the season, it's really like has this getting the team back together vibe, you know.
Hmm.
This is the reboot after the show ended. Several years later, we're reuniting 3 years later to do more, something like that.
I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, but meanwhile, the other half of the cast, like, not a day has passed. Like there or a lot of days have passed, depending how you look at it.
Hmm.
Um,
Or they haven't passed yet.
yeah, exactly. So, what were your thoughts on this one?
Really good. Solid episode. Um, I think this was a really good episode to have to jump back into after having not watched for about
Mm-hmm.
7 months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it is one of those things where it's like, oh, cool, like you jump back in and oh, that's right. I remember watching this, like all this stuff. But this was also like a good sort of like segue, I feel like, between things. I feel like the first 3 episodes were just sort of like setting up things happening, and this one is sort of like, okay, now here's like the final push
Yeah.
before everything hits the fan, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, because like all the machinations and stuff and all the things that are happening, you know, with Sun, and then with Kate and Aaron, somebody trying to take Aaron, with all of that, like everything is just sort of coming to a head, and we get a little couple of mini cliffhangers here for those stories.
Mm-hmm.
uh so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's a good episode to jump back in on.
Mhm.
Jin comes back, for a hot second. So like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. He hasn't been in this season at all until now.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Man,
and
and
such a cool
he's
twist too, because like we've had that before in season 2. The episode ends when they find a body, and turns out it's Jin and he's alive.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we got that like in the third act, and then the actual final reveal at the end is that, oh, he's in the past
Mm-hmm.
with Russo's crew, and they're
Mm-hmm.
young Russo, which is
Mm-hmm.
obviously a great way to bring that character back after she was killed last season. So now to bring her back, what?
Yeah.
How long was she there? 40 years on her own? 30, 40
Yeah.
years?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So to bring back the character like 30 years younger is wild.
That's crazy.
Oh man.
Man, and I'm sure Jin's just going to be even more confused.
I
You know,
know.
he already doesn't understand most English. And
Uh-huh.
now he's stuck in the past with like somebody who says that they're Rousseau, but he's like, but we know Rousseau.
Yeah.
She's older? This doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Man, Jin's just having a not great time.
I'm kind of wondering, like, did we ever see any interactions with Rousseau and Jin? Like, did she ever recognize him?
I don't think so. I feel like that's too much of a uh that's too much like forethought and it, I don't I
Possibly.
I don't think they said they because that would have been early like season 1 or 2,
Because
you
season one,
know.
she was very much on her own. She was out in the wilderness.
Well, then and then for season 2, Jin was off for like half the season on the other
Yeah.
side of the island. So, you know,
Wow. Yeah. I'm going through like mentally trying to track Jin's story. Uh, yeah, they're just two characters. I don't think they ever really cross paths.
yeah.
This is gonna take more research. Meaning we're gonna have to watch again from the beginning.
Oh man, let's get through this watch first, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah, man. This was I'm kind of having some difficulty here because I'm used to going like really deep diving, and I don't know what to say other than like I enjoyed it. And I didn't take any
Sometimes
notes.
that's enough. You
I know.
didn't take notes?
No, it's getting hard to watch stuff and take notes just because my computer. We know the issues my computer has had,
Oh
so
yeah, yeah.
now like I am kind of regulated taking notes on my phone,
Hmm.
and it's just like I have to jump back in, turn it on. Pause the episode because I don't want to miss anything. You know,
Why don't you watch stuff on your TV?
it doesn't matter. Oh, like on the TV and then type on my computer.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I had to get the app on the PlayStation, and that takes some more memory. Blah 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 blah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
have like three different playthroughs of Baldur's Gate 3. That's taking up a lot of memory.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I
Time to delete Call of Duty. It's time.
oh dude,
It's
but
time, dude.
it's so
It's
addicted.
no, it's time. We're not in the mid 2000s anymore,
I'm
okay?
I
Call of Duty has run its course.
I from someone who doesn't play Sam, that's sounds biased. I I'm actually more likely to delete Helldivers because I haven't played it in months.
Oh
I'm
wow.
just like I mean honestly, dude, it's fun. I love it. I only enjoy playing it with like people I know,
Yeah.
but also like you don't play, so automatically I'm like, all right, I don't want to play with anyone else.
Hmm.
And then when we do, I have fun, but it's just like it's repetitive to me. Like
Mm.
even with all the cool stuff you can unlock, I'm just like I'd rather play a superhero in DC Online. This game that's 13 years old, and it honestly feels like it's 13 years old, but I have fun, you know?
Wow.
And I'm playing Starfield, which is a game that really feels like
13 years old.
I wasn't going to say that much, but just Bethesda feels like they never really finish any of their games.
Yeah.
But just within the last couple weeks, they introduced the creation kit for the modders for console.
Hmm.
It feels like a whole brand new game, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So we'll see. They're gonna do a new DLC for Starfield, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, like I don't. Sorry, Helldivers.
You
I
should,
guess I'm not a fan of democracy.
wow.
Hmm.
You know what we are a fan of? Lost. And I think you should make Oceanic Flight 815 on or in Starfield.
in Starfield.
Yeah.
But it's in half, Sam. How do I fly a plane that's in half?
It won't be this time. It won't be.
What's oh, man? Okay, we're really going off topic here. What's Roblox? I hear a lot of girls talking about it. Like
What?
Roblox. There's like a whole like I'm getting all this stuff on my Instagram feed of all these women between their teens and their 30s and they love Roblox.
Matthew, I don't know.
Damn it, Sam. You're my connection to the youth. Roblox. I'm looking it up.
It's an online game.
Ultimate virtual universe that lets you create, share experiences with friends, and be anything you can imagine. So is this kind of like a Second Life thing?
Oh, dang it. It says download an app. I don't want another app. I'm not that curious.
So it's like okay, so it's like this other it's kind of like what did I just say?
Second Life?
Second Life. There you go.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of like that, but it's online. You could meet people, hang out. Everyone looks kind of funky. Okay, well that's cool.
There you go.
I'm curious to see what they do at Fortnite because I think they're trying to do this type of thing with Fortnite, especially now that Disney's teamed up with them
Mm.
and they're going to introduce all these different like worlds and gaming experiences. There's going to be kind of like a Second Life esque Fortnite, which is honestly kind of cool because even though it's very cartoonish looking, like the character designs are really good.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
They
especially
have
if you
really
look
great
at the
designs.
recent either the recent characters or the recent like the content creators that they turn into characters, they're
Hmm.
very detailed and it
Hmm.
looks awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Hurley to show up in Fortnite and John Locke.
That's what I want too.
Yeah. All right, before people get mad at us for not talking about Lost, uh I didn't take notes, but I have my notes that I took back in November. So
Wow.
let's see what we got here.
Let's see if you remember
Oh,
what this means.
oh, quote, I have always been with you.
Oh my
Kate to
gosh.
Jack. That was good. I'm like,
Ah.
okay, not exactly Kate, but I get it. I get the sentiment. You
Hmm.
know, they're the OTP for themselves, not for us. I think for us, it's Sun and Jin and Desmond and Penny. Man,
Hmm.
two of the best like cinematic romances, and they both come from Lost.
Yeah,
Man,
agreed. Also,
yeah.
Rose and Bernard.
Well, Rose and Bernard too, but they're very much regulated to guest stars. Like Sun and Jin,
Hey,
the
we were just throwing out like our favorite couples. I would put Rose and Bernard above Jack and Kate any day.
oh yeah. But I'm talking about like best romances of all time. Like
Oh yeah, yeah,
Sun
yeah.
and Jin, just the adversity they've had to go through in these first 4 seasons and 4 episodes. It's
Hmm.
just that alone cements them like how hard they have to fight for each other. Whereas Desmond and Penny, it's almost like their troubles is that they've been separated. It's only recently that we've actually got to see them together,
Hmm.
you know. But both of them, this just man, these writers know how to write romance. Damn it. Actually, maybe they don't know how to write romance. That's why the couples are either fighting or they're either fighting each other or fighting super hard to get back to one another.
Yeah, yeah.
So what we've learned from Lost, and I guess from Dark as well, how you write true romance is to make it as difficult as possible for the two characters to end up together.
Wow, their ending up together will shatter the universe.
Man,
That's how you know it's love.
I was working on some packages at work yesterday,
Hmm.
and the song from Dark, the I don't know what it's called, the German song that sings about time comes on, and that's the song that like starts the show and ends the series.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, I miss it, dude. And, and you
I
know
want
what?
to. I want to go back, but not for a little bit.
Me too. I was just thinking about this yesterday. Like, I watched the show and I loved it, and I took a few months off, and then we watched it on this podcast. And now we're what, a couple weeks? I think it's already like almost 2 months, if not longer, since we've watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And when it, I don't know, man. I've always felt like I love Dark. I don't know if it's my favorite show though.
Mm-hmm.
But now here we are, almost 2 months later, and I'm like, is this my favorite show? Like right now, I kind of still feel like Lost is my favorite show because the just the overall ground that they cover, especially in genres, that they go through, and like you don't know you're watching sci-fi at the beginning. You don't know this is a time travel story at the beginning. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, Lost is still like my favorite show for now. So we'll see how we feel about when it ends. But Dark is up there, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking Dark might not be my favorite show, but it might be the best show I've ever watched.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of like
Hmm.
Indiana Jones. Last Crusade's my favorite, but I think Raiders is Raiders is more iconic for sure,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. Because I was gonna say otherwise, but no, I still think Last Crusade is a better made film.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we're just talking about everything other than Lost, but that's loosely connected, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah, because I'm also slowly watching Battlestar Galactica right now because I'm
Mm.
watching like two different reaction channels to it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh man. Um,
When we were packing for our vacation, I put on the mini series while I was
mm,
like doing dishes.
hmm
Let me tell you, I did all those dishes. I
hmm
cleaned the sink. I deep cleaned because I was watching the mini series all 3 hours, and I was like, man, that was really good. Don't rewatch Battlestar. Don't rewatch Battlestar. Don't
Dude,
rewatch
I know,
Battlestar.
right?
It's so hard for me to just not want to say, like, you know what, I don't need anything else. I'm just gonna turn on the TV and watch Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, yeah,
I, I hate how easy it is to just jump back in.
yeah. It's, but I don't know. I think it's a great show. It's tough though. Like it's dark. Like uh,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, but I think those three shows for sure are in my top 10.
Mm,
Obviously,
yeah.
man, that's an episode we need to do. But I'm really hesitant to do like a top 10 shows,
Mm.
just because I feel like a lot of
That
my
one's
top 10
tough for me.
shows. It's been a long time. Like
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like for me it's kind of always changing,
yeah,
and I'll find stuff and I'll be like really obsessed with it, and then months later be like, is that one of my favorite shows? I don't know. I really enjoyed it, but yeah, so I don't know.
actually, I'm thinking about it. I'm filling up my list right now in my head. I'm like, damn, it's already almost 10. But I was
Wow.
thinking like the 100. Would I put the 100 on there? I don't know, man.
Really?
That's like a toxic relationship because as much as I love that show, there's also a lot about it that I don't. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
man,
No, keep the 100 at your honorable mentions.
I think so. That's not the type of show you want to introduce to your mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, yeah. But the Magicians is on there. Sam.
Okay.
Next note.
Mr. Edgelord.
Damn, Sawyer saw Kate and Claire. That's it. That's the note. Yeah, that was good, man. That was a good scene. And I like how he never actually told Locke what he saw, but he ends up telling Juliet. I was like,
Mhm.
all right, so he is opening up a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
that was nice. Oh, this is an interesting note. I love that we've gotten rid of single character centric episodes. That's
Mm.
true. I don't think has season 5 focused on a single character? Well, I don't think season 5 we've really had any kind of flashbacks because we're flashing back and forth
Yeah,
on and off the
yeah,
island.
yeah. We're flashing back and forth to the island, off the island. Really, like, I think like we kind of have like characters like take the lead a little bit more, but not to the point where
Right.
it's like they're the sole focus.
Yeah, but I
You
mean,
know?
Lost is a show where like each episode you have a lead
Yeah,
because they have the plot on the island and they have their flashbacks.
yeah,
But we haven't got any of that this season.
yeah,
Occasionally we'll get like the ensemble ones, but that's usually rare. But so far, I think you could make an argument, okay, like maybe this episode had a lead or whatever, but it's no longer cut and dry because we don't have those flashbacks anymore.
yeah,
Now it's like we're watching the show is following two different casts at the same time.
yeah.
And it's automatically become more of an ensemble show, which honestly I think is a lot better, especially when you have characters like Jack and Kate who at times can be very just frustrating, especially for characters
Hmm.
who are supposed leads, you know?
Yeah.
So it works. I think it works better as an ensemble. So it was a good job. Good job, Lost.
Good job.
Oh, here's another note. Fucking Ben. That's it. That's probably when we find out that it was his lawyer. He was behind the whole thing.
Honestly, line delivery of the episode, who was that? Oh, that's my lawyer.
Yeah, Michael Emerson's genius, man.
Wow.
Uh,
Just want to, yeah. You just want to punch him in the face.
mhm, mhm,
Just by standing there, you just want to punch him in the face. You know, which
mhm.
is no tea, no shade to Michael Emerson. The person. But just like as Ben, the way he just carries himself, you're just like, man, you're just the worst. You're a slime ball. I don't trust you. You got my boy Hurley throwing burritos at you. You know,
It was a hot pocket.
Oh, a hot pocket. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, really, a hot pocket is just a burrito with all of the cultural influences taken out of it.
It's a pizza burrito.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because they have different versions of hot pockets. It's not just pizza.
Yeah, but there's only
Mhm.
one in my book.
Okay.
That actually
All
sounds
right.
pretty good, man. I wanna.
No. Mm-mm. No, it doesn't. You think it does.
You think it
You,
does until you actually
you,
do it.
yeah. You think it does because
Just like that toxic relationship.
this happened to me. This happened to me years ago. Like I hadn't had a hot pocket in maybe 10 years. And I was like, you know what sounds good? A hot pocket. I'm gonna go get a hot pocket. I went and I got a hot pocket. I put it in. I was like, oh yeah. And I pulled it out of the thing, took my first bite. Awful. Terrible. I was like, wow, I lived and died by these back in the
I mean,
day.
they're basically cheap calzones, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Just go get a calzone from somewhere, and I think
yeah,
that'll feed that'll scratch that itch.
yeah.
Um, however, what was the Batman one? Remember that from Little Caesars?
What yeah. Wasn't it like the bat calzone or
The
something?
calzone, like it was weird. It was good. It wasn't the best, but it was
Hmm.
pretty good. Review Little Caesars, the Batman calzone. Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
I thought it
Can I
was a
see
better name for it, but
can I see it?
let me get a picture here.
Listeners, this is just for me. It's not for you at all. Yep.
Mm,
Yep. See, like it looks good,
it looks
but it
cool because it's kind of the Batman shape.
yeah.
Listeners, if you don't know what we're talking about, what, a year or two ago or a couple years ago,
I think like
Little
2 years ago, yeah.
Little Caesars made a calzone that was in the shape of the bat. It was kind of loosely shaped in the Batman like symbol, you
Hmm.
know, highly inspired by.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah,
I mean, no, like it did, like it was pointed, it looked like, but
yeah.
it
It wasn't
looked,
the Batman logo, but
yeah,
it was
yeah,
inspired by it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, they did it as like promotional for and a tie-in for the Batman.
hmm
Um, Yeah. What a movie. What a pizza. Always
Not
love a Little
like
Caesars.
the animated stuff. I kind of got it in my head that I was going to try and watch the animated films kind of in release order.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And luckily, I just started watching clips online. And I'm like, this sucks, man. I don't know why I'm going to put myself through this.
Yeah.
I saw a few and that I didn't like the Court of Owls one.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, it's called Batman versus Robin, I think.
Yeah.
It's just not like the action scenes are well animated, but they're just not good. Like I don't know who's making these. I
Mm.
gotta give them credits though, kudos because they're pumping these films out like what, one or two a year. Like
Yeah.
I like that. I wish we had
Hmm.
something like that for Marvel. You know,
Yeah.
even if it's not tied to the MCU, but like just more of that content. Like I would like to see that. But
Mm.
honestly, I would like to see it in like canon with the MCU.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's yeah, that's for that feels like a whole bag of worms or a can of worms for me. But like, I think that's why we're not getting more stuff like that. Like the closest we've gotten to these like smaller like projects for the MCU is the What If series.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm one of the people that like actually enjoys it,
Yeah.
but I do also kind of think of it as a thing of like, yeah, this is fun. Yeah, this is entertaining. Like that's kind of all I need it to be too. But my thing is like I need more. Like some of the episodes are like really cool, and I wish they would like have the room to expand on
Yeah.
them a bit. Like having it in such a tight format just feels so weird to me. Um, but yeah, like and I know they're doing a whole thing where it's like, oh, they're doing multiverse, so like technically this is all canon, but it's like really,
Nobody cares.
I don't really think it is.
I don't know who's
Um,
still excited for the multiverse.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's a whole other bag of worms, uh, adjacent to the conversation. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think like it would be cool to just do like just who cares? Just make an animated Captain America movie where he's fighting, Nazis and stuff in World War II, and just have Wolverine show up. That'd be fun. You
Yeah.
know, cool, solid, like 45 minutes to an hour movie. Like great,
Yeah.
like awesome.
I'm
Or something. Like
with the success of X-Men. What was it? 97?
97.
I'm kind of curious if we're going to get that because of the massive success they've had. They're already talking about bringing back the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Um, and I do know I haven't finished 97, but I do know that a couple characters show up, and I'm excited to get there. So that would be really cool to see more of that universe kind of grow. Um, that would be like that'll be interesting, you know.
Hmm.
I would be cool with that. See my thing is like what's making those DC movies work is that there's so many of them and they've been doing it so long that it is its own cinematic universe.
Hmm.
Even if I find it not that great, there's still the continuity there.
Hmm.
Um, Even ones where like, oh, this seems like completely different. Well, it's because of Flashpoint. So things went bad. We're gonna have to do the Flashpoint again and reset. At least it's still in the continuity. So my whole thing was like, I wanted to see animated films in the MCU canon. If that's not possible, fine, set it in X-Men 97. What I'm really wanting is more of the story set in that world, you know?
Hmm.
I don't want just, although it would be cool, I don't want just a Captain America movie in World War. That's a bad example because that's a really good idea. Captain America in World War II with Wolverine and Black Panther, like the video game, like those are
Hmm.
cool ideas, you know? Midnight Suns, that's a cool idea. Uh, but like, I I don't know, just a random idea of this random thing. Like, I want it set into the bigger context, you know, like I want it part of the world, you know.
Like the
And
live action movies.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's kind of to MCU, then yeah, it should be. But like, if you just do X-Men '97, that's fine. I just want it to be big. I want to see this universe and this world, you know.
Mm,
Um, that's kind of what I want right now. I want something where it's like, okay, here's if we're talking about movies right now, okay, this is a Captain America movie, set in the world of X-Men '97. Okay, cool. That takes place between seasons 1 and 2 or whatever. Okay. And
hmm
then after season 2, this is the Iron Man movie that takes place in that same universe. You know, like that's kind of what I
mm,
want. Just like I guess all of this just to say world building. I don't know why I didn't think of that. You know, I want to see what the world building of this looks like. You know,
yeah,
we already knew the Spider-Man cartoon was in continuity because he crossed over in the original X-Men series.
yeah,
So like what's he been up to now? Like what's Spider-Man '97 look like?
hmm
Um things like that. That's kind of what I'm interested. If they would I'm just saying I think there's a higher chance that they'll do that with X-Men '97 than the
hmm
MCU. And I get that. I understand, but there's still a lot of holes in the MCU that I want filled, you know?
agreed.
Like the blip. And I just want more Avengers stories, like of that OG team. Like, what were they doing between 1 and 2? What were they
hmm
doing between Age of Ultron and Civil War? Like,
Yeah,
I,
that's like
yeah.
that's my thing. Like I feel like we're missing an Avengers movie. You
Hmm.
know, where we got two where they were a full team, and then the next time we had an Avengers movie, the team was split in half.
Yeah.
You know, and all that, which, like ballsy, cool, I still think it's
Mhm.
great. But yeah, I feel like we really needed just a third movie.
Do you think if Civil War had been an Avengers movie, if it would have worked better? Not that it didn't. It's one of the best Marvel MCU movies.
Hmm
But do you think that would have been better to split up the team in actual Avengers trilogy?
Honestly, yeah,
Hmm.
I think so. It's kind of tying it back to Lost. This is sort of what we're talking about, where it's like these episodes right now, in season 5, they have something of a lead, but they're not the sole focus of the story,
Right.
because they are jumping back, and all that stuff. That's kind of what the third Captain America movie is, Captain America Civil War.
Hmm.
It's a Captain America movie, but we still have all these other little asides with Iron Man, with the like with the team, all of this stuff.
Hmm.
Like, but it's like at the core, it's still a Cap story, and I think that's kind of what the issue is. I think it needed to be. I feel like it needed to be a little more nuanced,
Yeah.
and I definitely think it could have benefited from having, you know, everybody's perspectives in, because really, like, we only get like Cap and Iron Man's,
Hmm.
and they're very clearly on opposing sides. We never really saw somebody who was like in the middle, or somebody who was like teeter
Yeah.
tottering, or somebody who
Yeah.
fully like switched sides, which I think was one of the cooler things about the event itself,
Yeah.
where like you saw people who were like divided, or who had a hard stance, and then once the fighting started, they were like, actually, no, none of this is right, or no, like I was in the wrong. This is making us bad. We have to register,
Hmm.
all of that. um and
Yeah.
honestly, I think that's just, I think that is something that is also maybe a little too big for a movie, you know
Yeah.
like it is a blockbuster idea, but it is definitely something that even in the comics, they had the main run of Civil War, but it was all branched out into, the
Yeah.
different, how are the X-Men handling it, how is Spidey
I
handling it,
because I was kind of wondering like what if you could do this two ways. You do Cap 3 and then Civil War, or you do Civil War and then Cap 3, you know? Because
I think that,
I
yeah.
think Cap 3 would have been a really cool, it essentially would have been Winter Soldier 2. And that would have been the driving wedge between Cap and Tony.
Hmm.
That's where you figure out like Bucky kills
His
Tony's family.
parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, you might even want to still have T'Challa be introduced in that one. You know,
Hmm.
because they killed
To kill his dad.
yeah, king, right? He's a king.
Yeah, the king of
Yeah,
Wakanda.
and so that would be so you don't have to worry about introducing those elements in Civil War. You
Hmm.
know, um, you could have still done that, but that means you would have had to add a lot more to Avengers Civil War, but I think that would have been fine because you would have had more opportunities to tell both sides of the story and to tell the other character stories. Um, Also, we could figure out something to do with Thor and Hulk if we want them there, or we could still shoot them off to another planet. But like their presence would be addressed, not just in a little
Hmm.
aside. Oh, we can't find Thor, you know.
Yeah.
It's like their presence is missed. You're like, who else is gonna fight Vision? Like, oh crap, Thor's not here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like I don't know, like I think that would have been a much better thing to do because, like, I agree, we were missing a film. All that to say,
Lost. Pretty crazy.
fucking Ben. That's the last of my notes. I also have stuff
Wow.
about Russo and her people, but we already talked about that.
Uh,
Yeah, man, it was a good episode.
Saeed got to have a cool little fight. I thought
Yeah,
that was
it
fun.
was no Captain America Civil War, but
No, no, but you know what? Saeed should have been in Captain America Civil War.
yeah, who would he have played? They would have made him a bad guy, though. I just feel like it.
No. Well, yeah,
Here's what
probably.
I would have done. I would have made him like the shield agent who's like the friendly shield agent. Actually, we're going back before Civil War. I'm talking about Winter Soldier. I'm getting rid of what's her name, Sharon Carter, and I'm replacing her with Naveen Andrews.
Wow.
Yeah, just because the whole introduction of Sharon Carter, obviously they were trying to set up a future romance there, and it's like, no, dude, no,
Yeah.
yeah, uh-uh.
Yeah.
Is she
I
gonna
don't
be in
know.
Thunderbolts?
Maybe. I think so.
Because no spoilers here, guys. We do see her again in uh,
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Very interesting character. I want to call it development, but arc.
You know, one, I think it's development because they actually make her into a
They
character.
actually do something with her. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, they actually do something with her. And, have like having her, at like in this role is like fascinating, interesting. This is kind of the thing that I wanted to see out of Civil War, like people shifting alliances, you know?
yeah,
And it's one of the cool things about it's one of the cooler things to come out of the blip. I hate that it's called the blip.
me too.
One of the cooler things to come out of the blip is like you get to see like how we get to see an established character have a visceral reaction to this,
Hmm.
and well, that's not to say that like, oh, like what about everybody in Endgame? It's like they're superheroes. Sharon
Hmm.
Carter is a normal person, you
Yeah,
know, who was in the thick of it, in the mire. Captain America, he's not out saving the world during those 5 years that everybody's gone.
yeah.
He's like, he's in therapy. He's in group therapy
Hmm.
with all of these other people. Tony fully left and started a family.
I, that's
Like,
what I want to know. Like, I want to know what they're doing. Nat is running Shield.
yeah,
I like. What does that look like? You
yeah.
know?
What does a shield look like when it is at half capacity,
Yeah,
but still having to fight all of the global threats?
yeah. And I'm
You
pretty sure
know?
Cap was still doing his thing. He's not going to stop. But what does that look like?
Yeah.
Because in Falcon and Winter Soldier, they really kind of made it seem like things were okay during those 5 years.
Well, it was sort of like things it's like it was like a system reset.
Yeah.
You lose half of the population, and it's like, okay, well, now this half, they have to like make do, they
Hmm.
have to get on. I'm sure that like whatever wars and conflicts were going on were like stopped
Hmm.
because there's literally not as many people anymore to
Hmm.
fight these wars. So it's like, yeah, things are getting peaceful. I love the idea of now everybody coming back, and that has had an effect. Like,
Yeah.
like everybody coming back now is is sort of a bad thing,
Yeah. Yeah. I
you
like
know.
that. Okay, so real quick, we've fully jumped into to Marvel conversation now. Um, I
I
haven't,
tried,
I
guys. I
haven't,
tried to get us
I,
back on
I
Lost.
haven't seen all the MCU stuff, but do we ever find out if Wong got snapped?
Dude, I don't know.
They haven't addressed it, right? Because I'm
No.
wondering, because he's Sorcerer Supreme in Multiverse of Madness
Hmm.
in what is that, part two? Yeah, Doctor Strange 2.
Hmm.
So Strange was gone, so was he Sorcerer Supreme
Oh,
then?
yeah. I think they said that because so there isn't a Sorcerer Supreme. Wait, hang on. No, I think he gets made Sorcerer Supreme at the end of Doctor Strange 1, and then Strange gets snapped and is gone.
And Wong
Yeah,
may or may not
yeah,
still be
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Interesting.
I think if Wong excuse me, I think if Wong had gotten snapped, I think there would be a new Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he survived. That's kind of my thing too, and I dig that, like, I dig that Feige wants people to like come in with their own pitch and be like, okay, yeah, like whoever you think was snapped was actually snapped, or whoever you think stayed. And I get that because that's cool.
Hmm.
That's a cool thing to allow your creatives to have such control over.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it makes these weird inconsistencies where it's like, okay, cool. What was Wen Wu, Shang-Chi's dad? What
Hmm.
was he during the 5 years?
Yeah, yeah,
Was
yeah.
did he get snapped? It's like we
Well,
we never got like
I
a
thought they
confirmation
mentioned
of that.
that when they never confirmed it, but he talked about it. Half the population getting snapped away, blah blah blah.
But that was it.
Yeah, I just kind of took it kind of from the perspective of like the way he's talking about, because he's talking about losing stuff. His whole journey is losing people,
Mhm.
and like he essentially lost his kids. I kind of when he mentioned that, I kind of figured like, oh, did he lose his kids during the snap?
Mm.
Like they didn't
Well,
say it, but it
yeah.
thematically, the way he's talking about it, I felt like
Mhm.
he was still here.
See, well, I mean, that's kind of that's kind of the thing. Then
It's
it's like I
loosely up
need
to interpretation.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, no, I need that
yeah.
confirmation because that's kind of what happened with Kate Bishop's mom
I was
in
just
the
gonna say
Hawkeye
that that's my
series.
theory. Like I think Kate got snapped and her mother didn't,
Yeah.
and that's why you arrest your mother on Christmas. The best line in the MCU.
Is that what superheroes do, Kate? Arrest their mothers on Christmas?
Oh, I feel bad for the actress too. She's so
Man,
good. Just
Vera
that role
Farmiga, you deserve
sucks.
so much better. That was such a bad line.
Yeah. Give Jack his own show though. I love that character. What's his name? I don't remember his name. The boyfriend
Who?
who you think is the villain the whole time,
Oh, yeah,
and it
because
just turns out no, he's not. He's just a douchebag.
he's just a douchebag who's really good at sword fighting.
Yeah,
So
he's just this douche himbo who like he's kind of endearing. You're like, wait a minute, you're not a jerk. This is just who you are. I thought you were being evil the whole time. Oh man.
give him and Pizza Dog a spinoff.
Pizza? Oh, Pizza Dog. That's what his
Pizza
name is.
Dog.
I was like, who
Come
the hell's
on.
Pizza Dog? I forgot about him.
See, this is why you also got to read the comics.
Is
Because
Pizza
the
Dog in the
comics,
comics?
yeah, dude. And
Oh,
Pizza
that's
Dog is
cool.
better in the comics. In fact, the comics are better.
Well, I could tell you that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But,
yeah,
it bears repeating because there are some people out there who don't read comics
yeah.
and they are worse off for it.
They're nerds. Don't step into our world and
No,
try
they're
to know
the
what's up.
they're the opposite of nerds, man.
They're
They're
losers.
pretenders.
They're pretend. There never was
Yeah, there
is.
never was.
Well, listeners,
Wow.
I hope you enjoyed this wonderful discussion about Lost.
Sure that's what this was about.
I just honestly, I feel like this was a great episode to jump back into, but there's not a lot to talk about. I feel like, kind of like what you mentioned, a lot of the things that happened in this episode actually happened last episode, but we're
Hmm.
just kind of getting like they're all kind of leading further in.
Hmm.
I guess
Yeah,
there was a
yeah.
cool fight scene. Saeed took that guy down.
Saeed took that guy down. The group that we're following on the island, they found a boat on the beach. They took it and they were getting pursued and shot at by the other
Mm-hmm.
people who had a boat.
Mm-hmm.
They're time hopping and more people are getting nosebleeds like
Yeah.
Charlotte.
It was just kind of
That's
more of the same. It was just like we're
yeah.
getting further from point A and closer to point B now. We can tell, but there wasn't too much that was new. Even like the thing with the driving force of this episode was them trying to Kate trying to protect Aaron, and then even by the end we realized it's not important. That was just Ben pulling strings to do his thing.
Yeah.
It's just like why? Because he's trying to get Kate off the island. I'm like, yeah. So it's just kind of more of the same.
Hmm.
What is interesting is Sun's journey because she's looking into stuff and she looks like she's hunting Ben.
Hmm.
Sun's got a gun. And when did we see her talk to Widmore? It was like this season
I think it was this season,
or
yeah.
last season. But yeah, we've already established that relationship. Um, Last episode, episode 3, they meet young Widmore in the camp
Hmm.
with Richard. So like new questions are being asked here. I'm like, well, wait a second. How come these survivors need to go back when Widmore can just leave? You know?
Hmm. Maybe he didn't leave willingly.
True, true. And I remember that them telling Ben, like, if you leave, you can't come back.
Hmm.
So can Ben even go back?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's nuts. Uh, yeah. Other than that, I mean, it's a good episode. It was a solid episode. I do feel like I had trouble discussing this one because, like I said, we watched this back in November, so this is info I already had in my head.
Hmm.
So like there was nothing new in this for me. So I think not that I didn't like the episode, it just felt like repetitive,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
though it probably wasn't. It's just that like we've already seen this.
yeah.
So I just hope that means next we're gonna enjoy it more because we haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
Which means next week. Oh, also there was like no behind the scenes info for, so I got nothing else to talk about.
Oh wow.
Oh, well, I guess okay. Since we're now caught up to where we were before, Sam.
Hmm.
What are your predictions?
Oh geez.
Haven't done that in a while.
I know, man. And it was so hard to do predictions on Dark because I was like, I have no idea where this is gonna go. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Like feel like 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna be wrong.
yeah.
And the one time I'm technically right, it's only on a technicality. Um Man, okay. I'm predicting that Faraday will finally come clean about why people are getting nosebleeds.
That's interesting.
Uh,
I. Hmm.
because it was like kind of explained, but in a very lost way of like, here's
Yeah.
the short version, and it's like, okay, I really need you to sit down with me and explain the long version because
I
that
don't
doesn't
know if
make
he knows
sense.
though.
Well,
Like,
it's lost, Matt. He probably does. He just hasn't remembered yet.
that's true. Well, he does have memory issues to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like this whole episode was kind of taking him out of that. Because I love that scene where like he's just saying, I don't know what's going on over and over until finally Juliet tells Sawyer to go away and she's like, you need to tell me exactly what's going on. And he does basically he dumbs it down, I think, as easily as possible. Just says our brains essentially have a clock and these flashes are messing with it, and it's like a really bad jet lag. She even
Yeah.
says bad jet lag does not cause
Nosebleeds.
nosebleeds. Yeah, brain hemorrhages. Um, but like when Miles tells him, he's like my nose is bleeding, and like he's really kind of caught off guard. Like I don't know if he actually knows why.
Mm-hmm.
He did say he had a theory though, and he's like,
Yeah.
I thought this might happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
That's really interesting too that you brought that up because uh fair in that moment Faraday's telling Miles that like it has to be like exposure to the island,
right.
like that was part of my theory that it's like exposure to the island over a long period of time can cause this. And he's like, well, but I've only been here like a couple of days, these guys have been here for weeks. And Faraday like stops and is like, are you sure? And
Mm-hmm.
even Miles is like, wait, what? Wait
Mm-hmm.
a second. Am I sure?
Mm-hmm. What do we
Mm-hmm.
know about Charlotte? I'm trying to remember like what we've seen of her.
She's rich and she's British.
Right? We still don't
That's
know a
all we
lot about her
know.
because she's the
she
one. Her
doesn't
nose
she doesn't know who her mom is, or she doesn't know who her parents are.
something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Because her nose has been bleeding for several episodes at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and then this episode, we see Miles get the nosebleed, which starts that conversation. And at the end of the episode, we see Juliet get it.
Mhm.
So, like, it's slowly catching up to them.
I just hope that Miles's ghost talking powers come into play. That would
Oh,
be
yeah.
that would be fun,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I see. Here's something that's interesting, too, though, because Faraday mentions exposure to the island. I don't know what Charlotte and Miles's history is. Daniel kind of hints that there's more.
Mhm.
But Juliet has been on this island consistently for years.
Mhm.
Charlotte and Miles literally showed up just recently. So that
Mm.
tells me, like, okay, so it's not so much. So you would think that Juliet would have started feeling it first. So it's like, okay, so it's not really actual like time exposure like Dan was talking about,
Yeah.
but maybe like longer periods of time, like Juliet, who's been here, I don't know how long, like 5 years or whatever. That's not enough, but maybe if you were here in the past, because when Dan asks Miles, he's like, "Are you sure?" It's like, well, when else would he have been here?
Mhm.
You know? So I don't know. I mean, it's just weird that the person who has been here the longest consecutively did not feel it first. She's
Yeah.
just now getting nosebleeds.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm sure we'll have all our questions answered next week when we talk about Lost Season 5, Episode 5, This Place is Death, in which Jin tries to find the other survivors and Sun has vengeance on the mind.
Yeah. Do it, son. Do it.
Sun's got a gun.
Put a cap in that guy.
Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this fun podcast about the MCU. and our Lost segment.
Remember when we were? Oh wait, no, you weren't on it. No, I was part of a very brief stint on a Marvel podcast.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
What was that called?
Into the Marvelverse.
Thank you for joining us for this spin-off episode of Into the Marvelverse.
Oh, a transmission from the multiverse has come in. This is incredible.
No.
And it's taken over our show.
No habla inglés. What? That man speaks Spanish. Mi casa es azul.
Oh God.
Yeah, so everyone, thanks for joining us. Hopefully I could get this episode up on YouTube like when the episode goes live. So
ooh, fancy.
Who knows? We'll see.
Come a long way.
Yeah. But yeah, join us next week. If you got any questions or let us know what you thought about this episode. Find us on the socials, hashtag Lost Legacies.
Wait, what are we talking about next week, Matt?
Lost.
Yeah,
I literally just read it.
You're supposed to do the because you didn't do the write-up.
I literally just read it 60 seconds ago, Sam.
Did you?
Next week we're talking about Lost, season 5, episode 5. This place is death.
Oh, that's right.
In which Jin tries to find the other survivors, and Sun has vengeance on the mind.
Look, man, it's been a long 5 minutes.
Sam, your nose is bleeding.
Oh no!
Oh God! Wait, are you like alternate? Are you multiverse, Sam? Did you just replace my brother?
Whoa!
I thought you were wearing a blue shirt. What did you say?
I'm being decoherenced.
Nobody recognizes that reference because we didn't make that episode.
I know. It's a reference for you.
Oh, they'll understand that reference in October when we talk about that movie again.
God. Great.
Anyway, I'm on Twitter at _ Matt Jimenez and on Instagram at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Real, that's REEL, Texas Weirdo.
If you want to shoot us a text message, there should be a link down in the description of this episode. And I always forget our email. I don't know. I can't look it up right now. Shoot us an email at lostlegaciespodcast@gmail.com. I hope that's it.
How certain are you?
I'm 95% sure that's an email. If it's not, let us know the response you receive. But it feels damn good to say this again, Sam. Until next time, get lost.